Today, we are seeing a big rise in the price of silver, in the price of gold. What is going on? What caused today's precipitous rise? But even more important, guys, we need to look at the long term. What's going on out there that could make the silver price and gold price literally skyrocket? And one thing we want to zoom in on is the Fed, our old friend Jerome Powell, okay? And we're going to talk about how we can rest assured, we can rest easy as silver and gold investors, because if we take a step back and think about it, the guy's been wrong on everything, and we've got bright days ahead for the silver price and the gold price. But first, this morning, gold up $20, silver up almost 2%. We got some bad manufacturing numbers. Imagine that. Do you think we're heading into some tough economic times? Do you think maybe things aren't so rosy out there? Do you think the fact that Americans have no money and are living on credit cards and that's about to run dry is starting to possibly bleed through to the economy? Another big critical thing that we need to understand also is that all those interest rate hikes that the Fed did over the last 14 months, there's a lag effect. That means they don't have an instant effect, right? It's like a medicine you take that might take a week, like taking antibiotics, right? Like it takes a week or so for them to take. Those big interest rate hikes are just now starting to bleed through. Even some of the Fed governors are saying this. Guys, we could be heading into some very, very interesting, challenging times in the economy. And now we're starting to get data. Manufacturing slowdown. What about employment numbers, right? When are those going to back off? That will be the big one. When the employment numbers start to back off, the market will wake up. You already know it. I already know it, right? We know that the Fed is backed into a corner. Let's get our old friend out here, Jerome Powell, right? He's backed into a corner. He can use all the smoke and mirror and duct tape and bubble gum and anything else that he wants. Hello, my friend from South Africa. I saw that just popped up. Awesome you're here. Hey, guys, real quick, please give this a thumbs up. That really helps the channel and helps us get the word out. So please, if you get a chance, press that thumbs up. And don't forget, when we get to 100 thumbs up, I'll ring the bell 10 times. Okay? Now, I got here, domestic energy. Ron, please accept my apologies. I was helping someone at the time who had lost so much money that he was suicidal. I wrongly took it out on you. Oh, well, thank you, domestic energy. That's nice of you to say, and we wholeheartedly accept your apology. And you didn't do anything horrible. Let me just tell you guys the story. If I remember correctly, you said we were going to try to pump or try to sell silver and gold. And I told CoinShop Chris, I said, I think that's normal for people to expect that, but we don't. So we're not mad at you. And really, that's super nice that you came on here and said that. You're always welcome in Ron's basement. But we aren't trying to sell you guys anything. If we are, or if we do, and I did have a sponsor a while back, a gold mining company, a stock that I'd owned for years, we're very transparent about it, okay? And I'm very picky. I get approached with sponsorship opportunities all the time, right? And then I look into it, whether it's, a lot of it is gold and silver related. Most of it is. And I'm like, you know what? You got it, domestic energy. I'm not going to promote that to my audience because I wouldn't buy it myself. I wouldn't buy gold or silver through that particular company, or I wouldn't buy that particular stock. I would rather not have sponsorships than talk about companies to you guys that I wouldn't touch myself. So that's why I'm not selling you anything. Okay. And again, end of subject, domestic energy. That was really cool what you did, and you're always welcome here. Now let's get back to the Fed. Let's get back to the silver price and gold price. Today we are up. Are people starting to wake up? Are people starting to realize that our friends at the Fed don't know what they're doing? Think about it. Remember inflation? Remember how inflation? Whoa, it's not a problem. Then remember even Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell. They're both saying, Oh, inflation's just temporary. And then they got real tricky on us, guys, right? They got real, I'm going to go back to, I'm sorry, guys, but I want to say it's too. Domestic energy, it's very nice of you to be helping your friend who's suicidal. And you can help people get through that, right? We all go through rough times, and be there for your friend and let them know even us in Ron's basement, we're rooting for him. It's horrible to lose a lot of money, like you said. So I completely understand. Okay, completely understand. Now, inflation. Remember, it went from being not a problem to temporary. Then they got fancy and went to another T word, transitory. And now all of a sudden it's the biggest problem in the world, right? Oh, we got to deal with inflation. We got inflation. We got to get it back to 2% and blah, blah, blah. Why would we believe them? Why would we believe them, right? Now, I heard somebody else talking something very interesting about the Fed. Don't listen to what they say. Everybody will, but we're not going to listen to what we say. Look at what they do. And what they've done recently is paused. And we know from history, 100% of the times after they've paused, they've always cut rates. Okay? So let's watch what they do, not what they say. You know, and that's what somebody brought up this point. It's like, if inflation's still such a big problem and it still needs to be addressed and we got to deal with this, and, now it's all this blustery, why did they pause? Why did they pause? If it's still such a big deal that they need to deal with, why did they pause? You can't trust these guys. Look, we can't trust these guys. And gold and silver and the smart money are going to figure it out, right? And we're going to hopefully have our day, and it's going to be a good day. Let's just briefly talk about what else went on with the Fed not too long ago, 2 years ago. I won't pull it out, but guys, 2 years ago, all they were saying was, and it's just like they're saying now. Now they're saying, oh, we got to raise rates, we got to fight inflation. Back then they were saying, oh, we got to keep rates at zero through 2023. That's what they said 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. We're going to keep rates at zero through 2023. Oh, really, guys? Well, now that we're in 2023, we're only halfway through. And what do we have? We've got interest rates, the fastest rate hike in history. Don't believe them. I gotta throw this one out here too. I feel like I'm repeating, but this is so critical, guys. Jerome Powell, remember the banking crisis? It was a Wednesday. He was in front of Congress. He was testifying. Everything's great. Everything's fine out there. We've got it all under control. We're fighting inflation. We're raising rates. That's what he was saying. That was Wednesday. That Friday, 2 days later, banks start to fail. 4 days later, after he said everything's fine, on Saturday and Sunday, over the weekend, emergency meetings between the Fed and the Treasury. So what I'm trying to hammer home here is gold and silver price have been bombed over the last 2 years because, for whatever reason, the average Joe, even, people put weight on what the Fed says. But if we look at what they're doing, right, and we look at their history, it's a bunch of BS. And then the final one that I think is hilarious is somebody asked Jerome, are you going to monetize the debt? Because the U.S. government, right, can't afford to survive, basically. The only way it's going to work is if they print money and buy debt. And Jerome said, no, under no circumstance would we ever monetize, print paper money and buy the U.S. debt from the Treasury. Oh, really? Well, you've done it before, and all they have to do, one of the real smart guys out there, right, besides you and me, realized, right, all they do, they don't buy the debt directly from the Treasury. No, instead they print money, they give it to the banks, and they have the banks buy the debt, right, and then they get it from the banks. They just have a little intermediary, so they can say, we didn't buy it. No, the banks bought it. And then we printed money and bought it from the banks. You see what I'm saying? And if you think this banking crisis isn't over, you're not realizing reality, guys. We could be in for some serious banking issues here in the United States because Again, two things you have to consider, right? The effects of all the interest rate hikes are just bleeding through to the economy. The bankruptcies are just starting, okay? The other big key is that if we see as the companies that had been living on debt, and that's a big percentage, they're called zombies, right? They're going to, as the year goes on, there's going to be more and more debt that these zombie companies have, that they borrowed the money when the interest rates were 0. Now interest rates are 5. Okay. So if they maybe borrowed that money at 4%, now they may be looking at paying 9 or 10% interest, and they could hardly make it. The only way they survived was by taking out more and more debt. Now they got to refinance that at interest rates that are twice as high. We're likely to see a wave of corporate bankruptcies in the United States, because there's a lot of little companies out there that have borrowed $100, $200, $300 million. We're likely to see a wave of personal bankruptcies coming through, because there's more credit card debt. The average American household has $10,000 in credit card debt. Are you kidding me? I don't want to ask any personal information, but let me just ask in the chat, do you believe in holding and carrying credit card debt? I don't. I'm just curious, out of my audience, do you think it's a good idea to have credit card debt, or no, it's a bad idea? Let me see what you got, guys. No, total wisdom. Low blood pressure. I got all in silver. Low blood pressure. Okay. Nope. Craig Edmonds. Lupe. No, Andrew McKelvin. C130. Don't put $1 back on gold. Okay. Choke the woke. Nope. No credit card. Core carry board. No. Todd Pauly. No. Total wisdom. Credit equals debit equals slavery. Ron, with you, Ron. No credit cards. I have credit cards. I just pay them off every month. Max all credit cards and get silver. You can do that. I think that's risky. Carry as little as possible. SoCal refugee Bob Olson, no. AA, bad idea on credit card debt. Thomas Toops, absolutely no. Worse than Wells Fargo. D Frisco, no. Well, depending on the rate, CoinShop Chris has a theory. If you get 0%. That's a valid point, CoinShop Chris. Malcolm, no credit card debt. Richard Cooper, no credit card debt. Oliver, Credmax, get in with all precious metals. Don't pay them back. I got to admit, that's crossed my mind. Hello, Ace Rudy from New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand. I liked it. I love New Zealand. Really loved it. Christchurch, I think we went to, and some other place. Susie's over taking care of her mom. I can't ask. Buy silver. There's Neil, the platinum guru. No credit card debt. So you guys do not like credit card debt. That is awesome to hear, because credit card debt's the worst kind of debt. Let me explain to you why. All debt is, as people will say, a form of slavery. Okay, it is, because you're indebted to somebody else. Now, if you have a mortgage, I don't have a mortgage. My house is paid off. My house is in the registered category on the Comex. I'm trying to now sell it 300 times over. We'll talk about that in a minute. But, if you have a mortgage and you got in at 3%, that's probably actually a pretty smart investment. I would say, use that money to buy silver. But credit card debt is adjustable rate debt. That means if we have hyperinflation, the rate on your credit card can go up as much as inflation. They can adjust the rate, okay? So to think that, to use it as a way to then be able to pay it back in dollars that are worthless, there's a risk there, guys. I'm just telling you the truth. There's a difference between adjustable floating rate debt and fixed rate debt. Absolutely. I have a degree in accounting. I do know a little bit what I'm talking about. And adjustable rate debt can kill you because it can go up with the inflation rate. And the thoughts cross my mind myself. I have to be honest. I should just max out all my credit cards and buy a bunch of silver and tell them to go get effed. I don't know that that's a smart thing to do, but I'm just being honest. That thought has definitely crossed my mind. Man, I got a lot of feedback from you guys about this potential for food shortages. I got stories and comments from all over the country. People in upstate New York saying that at their local grocery stores, they are starting to notice fewer and fewer produce items. If you guys didn't catch this yesterday, the United States, Australia, Canada, where else? Europe, crop yields are way, way down. They're saying in Kansas that there's miles and miles of wheat crop that are just ruined, basically, that are doing poorly, and that we could be facing food shortages. I had a guy who owns a little grocery store in California tell me that he's starting to feel the crunch, that his suppliers, especially on the produce side, are telling him it's weird, it's not a crisis, right? But that the supply chain is starting to feel a little funky with food. Are you seeing it where you live? Let me know in the comments. Are you? I went to Aldi the other day for Susie, and on the list she had radishes. I love radishes, but she was making a salad or something. They didn't have any radishes. And I asked the guy, and he was like, I don't know. He was like, it seems like we're having shortages of more and more of the goods. Craig Edmonds asked, question, can the Fed members be voted out of office? I don't know, Craig. That's a good question. It feels like to me that the Fed governors are appointed, kind of like what goes on with the head with Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen. That those people are appointed to those positions. Okay, all right. Let's do some questions. I'm ready. What do you guys? Hey, it's your floor. Let me know what you want to hear about. Give me a question. I'm here and I am ready. If you don't, I'm going to start talking about de-dollarization and the fact that gold is going to go through the roof. Okay? Lupe Sanchez, what's the gas mask? That's just an old wood box. Here, let me show you guys real quick. There you go. Good old Ernie's in there. We'll let Ernie out for a little bit. Give him some air. That was my puppet I've had since I was 4 years old. I don't get rid of things, right? That's an old, cool puppet I had. The gas mask, that was a box from a house that I rehabbed. It was in the garage. I always thought it was cool. I actually had it over in my workbench area with a gas mask in it. But go figure. I thought it would look cool there for a little bit. Peasant food is now expensive. Yeah, isn't it? It is crazy how much food prices have gone up. I'm telling you, compared to 3 years ago, I'm going to say my food bill is up 100%. Easy. Somewhere near that. Let's say 70 to 100, depending on what you're buying. That wasn't me, brother. I want gold to go through the roof. I just repaired the last hole in my roof. Why do the Cardinals? Yeah, the Cardinal baseball team is like a traditional powerhouse in baseball, and they're no good. I think it's because they got rid of Mike Schmidt, the old manager. I liked him. Does Susie ever? Oh yeah, I get accused of being a pack rat all the time. I am a pack rat. I just have all kinds of stuff that I love. I'd love you guys too, but yeah, I just have all kinds of stuff. You don't want to see all my stuff. I'm not going to show. What's up with the 24th of August? The 24th of August could be a massive day for silver and gold. Okay, here's one of the things I have. That's like a real metal tank. My dad brought that back from Italy. He was in the Air Force, and he went to Italy one year, and anyway, he brought that back. That's a big day, okay? The tanks are going to be rolling. I shouldn't even joke about that, but August 24th, everybody's all excited because that'll be like the last day of the BRICS summit. Jim Rickards just put out an article. He says that August 22nd could be the biggest, right? Or August 24th, but it's the same thing. The biggest monetary event in the last 50 years. We're going to go a step further. We're going to say it could be the biggest day in the history of the universe for the silver price and gold price, okay? because that's when the BRICS are going to likely announce their new reserve currency. And Jim Rickards thinks it's going to be backed by, yes, you guessed it, gold. And that could send shockwaves throughout the world financial and monetary system. Look, guys, some people think it's not going to happen. But if nothing else, I can't see macro conditions. I mean, can you see macro conditions, fundamental conditions for silver and gold getting any worse? I mean, it can happen, no doubt about it. But I mean, really, the gold and silver, and then there's just these, I wouldn't call that a black swan, but a semi-black swan, these other events, and the potential for a big black swan that could really send the price of silver and gold flying. As for precious metals, I'm poor, Ken D, but stacked silver for 15 years, got 2,000 ounces. Hey, I wouldn't say you're poor, my friend. That's pretty darn awesome, right? So many will starve. Yeah, we've got, so they're saying, some people, I don't want to be a doom and gloom prophet. Some people are saying we're going to have major issues with the food supply. So think about this. We already went through a period of huge inflation with food costs. If we have a constriction of the supply of food, we could see hyperinflation. And we know what that would do. That would cause the Fed to print. That would cause the dollar value to crash. That would be a time that we would be grateful that we stacked silver and gold. Azure Blue says, no one should want metals to go very high unless you accumulated all you could stack. Yes, you got that. You got that. Gold's up $6.60. Silver up 30 cents. I thought it was up higher than that when we got on. Ron, did you see the video where AI predicted $160 silver? No, I did not see that, but I've messed around with that myself. And yes, the AI, that's very interesting, right? It must be looking at the facts. It must be looking at the fundamentals. Go figure, right? Go figure. All right, C130, Echo Leaf, Neil. So guys, somebody give me an update right now. What is the price of gold? Is it up? How much is it up? Hopefully not down, but let's get an on the spot update. We are live. It's Friday. Let's get an update. Gold. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Total Wisdom. You win the fast comment of the day. 1939. Now Andrew says up 660. 1940. Heard something about a lab-made meats are getting, oh yeah, boy, God knows what they're going to try to feed us in the future. Right? It's pretty darn crazy, scary. If I gave you $1,000 right now, what would you buy? Gold, silver, or platinum? I know one guy's answer. Gold undies are down. It's up 20. That's awesome. Platinum, Neil, I was waiting for it. Yes, C130. All right, see you later, buddy. See you, C130. Silver for Coin Shop Cress. Silver for Matt Rassey. Here in Scotland, most foods have gone up 20% in the last couple of months. Thank you, John. 1 ounce of platinum. Platinum. He would buy cookies, Craig Edmonds. Gold and silver, D. Fristo. Lolo silver. C130 is going for a bacon run. Todd Pauly'd buy gold. Andrew McKelvin brings up a good point. He would buy lead, silver, brass, and lead for Mitchie as well. Have fun. Total Wisdom, 50-50 silver for Lupe Sanchez. The Master Electrician, Silverback Gorilla, Brian Turner, and Neil. I promise, guys, next time I'll have Pippi the Silver Cat down here. It's been a while. She's itching to get back on. Lottery tickets. Very, very, very interesting. Well, we know one thing for sure. I made a video about this morning. Remember, there's a guy named Mark Dice, and a couple years ago out in California, he made a video where he took a 1 ounce gold Canadian coin, and he was on the streets, and he had a microphone, and he was filming, and he was asking people, would you trade me something they had in their hand for this 1 ounce gold coin. We got to realize that typical American, I'm sorry, and I'm not saying this about you, and I'm not saying they're stupid, but they've been brainwashed and they're just ignorant to the value of gold and silver. That's just a fact, right? Go try to talk to and I'm not putting anybody down. I was going to say go talk to, I don't know, go talk to one of your relatives or go talk to one of your neighbors. They just look at you like, oh yeah, okay. I like paper money. I buy stocks because they told me stocks only go up. Right? No, right? But we know. So this guy goes out on the streets. He's got a 1 ounce gold Canadian maple. And he offers, this guy's got like a 4-pack of beer, 4 cans of beer. He says, I'll trade you this 1 ounce gold maple for your, and the guy's like, oh, this is, Smoky Woods IPA, blah, 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 some microbrew. I don't drink, as you guys know, but, whatever. I used to drink some of that. And the guy's like, I'm not trading you that for that. And the guy looks like a normal. Here's the kicker. The guy looks like a normal, smart guy. Kind of like in my range, right? Not that I'm smart, but I've got a brain on my shoulders. I'm not that, and people don't understand. And this is where it gets so exciting. This is where we can talk about the gold price going to 3,000 or the silver price going to 39, 40, 60. Some people are saying $600 an ounce for silver, right? Because that's you're watching me, you're joining us, and I'm so glad you're here. And I got to do the bell because we just got to 100 thumbs up. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for the super chats you guys have given me over the last couple weeks. That has really helped out, especially with the kids being home and then wanting to go to trampoline parks and everything else. So thank you. But where it gets exciting for you and me, where we get to talk about $6,000 gold. How about we talk about $100 silver? Oh, if I put that in a thumbnail for a video, I'll get the roaches come out of the woodwork. You're doing clickbait. You're leading people to believe that there's going to be high silver and silver will never get that high, and you're a piece of poop for doing that. Blah blah blah. No, I believe that. I could be wrong, and I'll tell you why I believe it. Just one of the reasons why I believe it, because we're kind of like, God, what's a good analogy for this? We're kind of like the power of the people that could buy precious metals. We're kind of like a 500 horsepower car that's only running at 10% power, because we only got like 1 in 100 people that buy it. I'm telling you, when the guy on the street that wouldn't trade, a normal, smart-looking, good guy, I mean, he was not a dummy. It wasn't like he was stoned or drunk already. He hadn't drank the beer yet. We'd give him a break if he drank the beer, but he didn't drink the beer yet. The guy was sober. If he drank those 4 beers and said, no way, no, I'd give him a break. But when guys like him wake up, when they go to the grocery store and a loaf of bread at Aldi costs $6 for a loaf of bread that 6 years ago cost, $1.19, they're going to come flooding in, and it's going to be a good day for us. All right, guys, this is it. Give me your questions, please, please, please. $2,000 gold. Don't you worry, Sean. We're going to get there. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Let me get down here. Bell time. Oh, yeah. Thank you to our good friend Coin Shop Chris, who's always a massive help with the channel. Thank you, Chris. Decaffeinated coffee. Oh, no, don't do that. I love coffee. Kendi did the math. If silver acts the same way in 2000, yeah. That's the thing. People say, oh, you're talking about $60 silver. You're crazy. Well, if inflation adjusts the price of silver, we could be through the roof. Guys, thanks for joining me. I'm going to see you this weekend. Take care of yourself, okay? You're special. You're unique. It means a lot to me that you're here and to everybody else that we're here together. Take it easy.